We want to practice this. Linux command is nothing but a program. That program already developed by someone else. Okay? And then that program is provided to you and stored at some place. Remember that in our bin directory, binary directory, where there is lots of file names available. Those file names is nothing but program developed by someone else. So you could do that. You can develop your own commands and register there for your systems. As a program, as a Linux administrator, you need to make that, a lot of those, so that your work will be very useful and very handy the way that you design. Okay, so your administration is not only relies on something provided, but developed on your own. So that is what I wanted you to do. So some of the commands can be developed by Python. You guys all have Python, right? Right now. You guys all learned the Python. So you want to do that. How can we make a Python so that it can run as a command? So let's say this is the Python code. What it does is very simple. Oops, oh, it's not working. Anybody use this argparse? When you learn your Python, did you learn that modules to import? Probably not, right? This is a little one-step advanced module that we can do. So if you I want to explain this. This is a command. The function, two functions defined, command and main functions, and then that main function may be called at the end. There's a compute. So we put here options like a command development, right? So option is plus sign, minus sign, or like multiplication star, or we say some name times, or slash for divide. So arithmetic for basic operations may be an option for this compute. It takes two numbers, number 1 and number 2, and then compute it. If it is plus, then we add. If it is minus, we subtract. If it is times, we do time. If it is a division, then we have to be very careful, right? We can do divisions unless divider is 0, right? Divider 0, then it's not dividable. Only we say that. If it is divider is 0, then return error. Division by 0 is not allowed in elementary level math, right? So that is implemented in this command. And then main, this may be new to you guys, so I'm going to explain this. This is simply command. And the next one is a parser. Parser equal parse dot arguments parse description. Simply we describe that once. This is nothing but declarations. We declare parser, and then we add to that parser. So add arguments, option, we have 4 options, plus, minus, times, slash, which is divider, 4 options. If your command needs help, then we can give some help. Okay, so this is important. Parser, variable parser is declared, and into that parser we add the arguments. And then define the numerical arguments. So we want to see first argument is type float. If this is simply help, and the second argument that is also floating points. So from here they're defining parser. Once you define the parser, then parse the arguments. Parser dot parse args. So we want to the parsing arguments, and we call that args, and that args here, that arguments, as you parse that arguments, first one is an option, so we can say arg dot option. Second one is arg dot number 1, and third one is arg dot number 2. That will be computed. Some of the information or the way executing this function is designed here. What it does is that parser is defined that way, and then we call that args. So first dot option, then that is option. Second one is the second argument, first argument, and third one is the second argument. And then finally we print the result. With that, I want to bring my terminal. Okay. And then that file is in here, compute.py, and I want to get that information. I want to change the directory. So get that information, copy that. Come back here to terminal. I do cd, and then that is the path to that location. And when I do ls start.py, then I see that compute.py files. That is this, that is that one, all right? So if you want to see this, cat compute.py. Remember that the command that I am currently doing on my MacBook, that is a Linux command, right? The same thing. So I have that. This is the first function, the second function main, and the first function here, compute. But I put here, rather than, I put here times. Okay, time. Yeah, exact same ones here. Okay. So if I run this Python and compute.py, and then if I say plus and 3 and 4, then it gives me this, right? Compute. This is a command altogether. This is option. This is 2 arguments. Then it gives me the answer 7.0. How come I get this? Because I said here result equals the result. This is this part, and whatever upfront, this is something that I made, right? So if we want to change this, here again, VI mode, VI compute.py, and if I change this, remember that we used the VI mode, and then I put here star. If I want to change that, then here I want to change this to options to star. And if I do not want to show this, okay, then I want to make this comments. Here I don't need this. Simply result is result. Okay, and then I do ZZ, and then I want to compute that, then returns like this, right? And if I do here multiply, then it gives me some error. This is not a general error. This is not generic error. This is error comes from this MacBook, because star is usually there's another command. So this is not arithmetic star. So if you want to do, hey, this is not simply the Linux command available star, but arithmetic star, then if you do that way, then it works, right? 3 times 4, that is 12. You see the difference? But right now, you don't need to worry about that. It should work the star, but star itself is the Linux command. Usually, when you do here ls star.py, star is like wildcard, okay? Rather than gives me all list, I want to see only anything, any wildcard, anything followed by .py, then I can do this star. Because of this, in my command, if I use this, then it gives me an error. But if I want to say, hey, that's not that star, but within quote, then it understands. But other than this, for example, divide, it should work, right? Divide is not the Linux command. What else? Minus, it should work also, right? That's a command. This kind of things developed by someone else and collect all as a command for you to handle your Linux operating systems. Question? It's good, right? Someone may think, hey, there's still some way that we need to do. How can we do Python and compute.py? Can you make it a little nicer, like we have ls? Or in this case, maybe simply compute rather than Python compute.py followed by star something. Can you make it something executable in Python? Yes, we can do. Have you make a Python executable? Not yet, right? We always do Python something. So there is a py installer. MacBook has a py installer. If it is not, then you have to install it. pip install py installer. Like this. After that, you can do py installer and then compute.py. then it is compiled. That is available in dist directory. And then it's a compute, right? There's just created today. See here, that is a directory. So you need to do compute. Then that is compute file. If you see this, then there is a X code, right? As I said, if it is X code, then it means executable. Okay? So if I do compute here, for example, plus 56 and 99, it should work, but one step further we need to go, because right now compute is not understandable, right? It's not registered. But if you want to specify, hey, I want to run this specific compute, this program specifically, then you need to do, as I typed here, dot slash. Okay, dot slash. Dot slash means, dot means myself. Remember, the slash means that is the top. Dot slash means myself, but under my directory, which is compute. I want to run this compute, but don't try to find this compute from bin directory uppercase. I mean, somewhere in USR / local / bin, somewhere there. That's a systematic. All system knows that, but this compute is not yet registered there. But I want to run this compute like a command. This is executable. Then you should work like this. See here? I didn't do anything yet. I didn't do Python, anything, right? Simply this is a command. So point here is this. Linux command is nothing but a program that you develop. But Linux command is the commands, the program that somebody else developed that we simply now operate it. Okay? In computer science and cybersecurity professionals, there's two roles: developments and operations. Okay? Operations can simply operate it the way it is designed. If you have some better idea while you are operating something, then you can develop it, or you can modify it, you can tweak, and you can make your own command. Like I made here command, right? You can make your own command. So next homework assignments. Not exactly go back to Linux, because you guys do not yet have a Linux, but Python like this. I want to modify this a little bit. Okay. Remember that I have here pwd, I have there, so I need to go back. Dot means my father, and then another dot means my grandpa. Okay. Dot means I want to go back up one step. Slash, another dot, and I need to go back. I need to go back to my grandpa. And pwd again. Then you see here, this is a directory from top all the way here somewhere here 221 Linux slash online slash dist slash compute. When I do dot dot slash dot dot, then I am on 221 Linux slash online. Here, when I do .py, I have two files, right? Python compum.py. What this can do is not only two arguments, we can do as many arguments as we can. It can compute as many as arguments, multiplications. It can do that. That's what I ask you to do. Doesn't matter. But this guy cannot do division or minus, right? We cannot minus as many as we can. But plus signs, doesn't matter the order, which one first, which one next, which one third, right? Therefore, I want you to do only two arguments back here. For your homework assignments, I want you to do, you don't need to do this because minus, then order is important. Plus and multiplications, order is not, doesn't matter, right? Therefore, you don't need to worry about this. Only you need to do multiplications, time, and plus sign. So here, options, you don't need minus option, you don't need the division options, only these two. Another thing that you need to do here, not necessarily two arguments in this function definitions. Have you learned of star and arguments in your Python? May or may not, right? It depends on instructor. Therefore, see here. Oh no. Yeah, this star is, this is an arbitrary number of arguments. In other words, variable length arguments can be accepted. So usually, in this case, you need to have star rather than have a number 1, number 2, number 3. We do not know how many numbers that user wants to enter, right? Therefore, you need to do star and num. And you may say nums, okay? Star nums instead of this. You need to do star nums. And then somewhere here, option. Yeah, you don't need to do this. Only you say nums and float. You still remain this and this also. And then you need to say here, rather than this, star args dot nums. And the result. Okay, that much. So, so it is like cat compum.py. Only, oh, that you need to add this. N number of arguments. When you do here, parser nums, here, in between this, you need to do here n arguments, n number of arguments, that is plus sign. You need to do only plus sign. although you have two options, plus and star. And then here compute, you need to star nums. Okay, as I said here, star is nums. All others remains the same. Here that is a star nums. All right, so that is homework assignments.